my topic was chosen as a post-COVID-19 scenario. What is going to happen to our education systems and other connected system? As it is a lecture organized by ILTA and Professor a memorial lecture in the memory of Professor Rai Bahadur B.M. Das. So I'd like to pay my tribute first to Professor Rai Bahadur B.M. Das for his immense contribution in leather technology and leather industries for India. Now, and the contribution of ILTA in promoting the growth and development and the culture in leather technology and allied industries is also commendable. Over the last many years. You have contributed to the growth and development of this industry. Now, if we look at this time is, as in the entire world, it is called a COVID era. This time, probably we have not yet seen these types of scenario at our entire lifetime, and people are talking that maybe in many decades, it was not observed, a situation like this. We have seen certain outcome of these types of, these infectious diseases, but that was located at certain pockets of this world. This pan-world problem, this is unprecedented perhaps in the history of mankind and the recent part of this civilization. Now, before this COVID-19 induced pandemic scenario, we were observing a certain form of disruption in our existing practices. These disruptions are basically induced by technology, and we call it this technology-induced transformation or a technological revolution. If we look at our entire gamut of our civilizations, particularly in the last 100 and 200 years, this period is called the period of this modern civilization. And here, if we look, you can see there are certain distinct features of industry and associated, all practices like trainings, academics, all these things. Industry, after the invention of steam engine and power of steam was identified, then mechanizations of the process started, replacing this based. That is the onset of Industry 1.0. This is called first industrial revolution, and that happened between 1700 and early 1800. So this period, at this period of time, there is a shift from from manual labor by either people or animal to more optimized form of labor performed by people through the use of water and steam powered engines and other types of machine tools. And the second industrial revolution that started in the early part of 20th century. This is with the introductions of steel and use of electricity in the factories. Emergence of assembly line and mass manufacturing, that was the feature of Industry 2.0. And all these automobiles, this in their assembly line concept, that was evident in this period. Now, afterwards, there happened third industrial revolution, and this third industrial revolution, it started after Second World War with the evolution, with the start of this era of microelectronics and computers, computer technology, adoptions by factory, microelectronics and control systems. That was the features of the Industry 3.0. And then in between 1980s and 90s, there was an intermediate partial industrial revolution. We called it Industry 3.5. This is characterized by shifting of environmentally polluted products, pollution creating products, or products which requires the large numbers of this labor involvement or labor intensive processes, or which requires pressure or requires the consumption of water, huge consumption of water, airs, and all these things. That types of manufacturing bases started to shift from developed country from developing country, like from Europe and US to countries like China, India, Africa, and other places. This is basically this outsourcing of all these manufacturing processes and systems. And of the late, in this century, in the early part of the century, this onset of Industry 4.0 that happened. This is basically, we call it fourth generation industrial revolution. And this fourth generation industrial revolution, this is featured by many aspects like cloud technology, like Internet of Things or industrial Internet of Things, machine learning and artificial intelligence, machine-to-machine connectivity, digitization, smart factory, real-time data processing, and then cyber physical systems, all these things. This process is now continuing, and this is expected to be completed by 2024-25. That cycle will be a maturity cycle and everything that will be there. It is being predicted and forecasted. Afterwards, people are foreseeing there will be the emergence of Industry 5.0 with an intensive interaction between man and machine. Here, these more customizations of products, more biological integration of biological and mechanical systems, and then this use of all these manufacturing systems in such a way that anyone can take part from by remote access systems. So these are going to be the features of Industry 5.0: more robots, more humanoid robots, more the cyber physical connectivity, more these customizations of processes and products. Any product, be it cell phone, be it your dress materials, be it your specs, anything can be customized based on your requirement, and that will involve a massive interconnectivity or interface between these biological systems and mechanical systems. That is going to happen by Industry 5.0. So these are the features. Now, if we look at this education system side by side, our modern education systems, it started after the completion of First World War. Because that time, industrial, this revolution already has achieved a little bit of maturity, and there, as it was felt that after the war was over, it was felt we need to have people with expertise in different domains. Emergence of subjects like engineering, different branches of engineering, different branches of science, that was first conceived. And in different top universities, they started structured program in that line. And afterwards, if you look at it, this continues and continues. And this initial, this concept of education that was conceived by persons who were basically military personality. So their thought process that was reflected in that education system. So this education system is something similar to here, the cadets they are supposed to take the dictation from the commanders. Similarly, the students are supposed to take the notes and dictation from the teachers. In India, we know the history by by Macaulay that with the introductions of all these English education systems when started here, this particular pattern was adopted, and we have seen that the traditional or orthodox education system that started from that time, and it continued. It continued for a prolonged period. We call it education 1.0. Afterwards, when a computer came, and when internet particularly, this became popular. Now, after in 90s and 95s, when Microsoft Windows became popular, very popular, people became habituated in making PowerPoint presentations and all these things. Then ICT-enabled teaching became a part of it. That ICT-enabled teaching basically, it is supplementary to traditional blackboard and chalk systems. The teachers, they started using PowerPoint presentation, same thing. What was written in what was used to, they used to write on the blackboard, now they are making a presentation out of it. So this becomes the feature of this education 2.0. Now, of the late, because of this emergence of massive cloud-based resources, education resources, another form of education systems that appeared, which we call education 3.0, that is cloud-based education system. Here, anything can be, this communicated, the emergence of online courses, massive open online courses, communication through cloud platform, all these things that became the feature of education 3.0. Massive use of clouds, massive use of technology, massive use of all these things. This became the features of education 3.0. Now, if we look at it, the problem was there when we are talking about all these engineering discipline, traditional engineering discipline, electrical, mechanical, civil, chemicals, and all these things. In earlier systems or these in orthodox or traditional manufacturing systems, we had the birth for each and every, for different compartments or different silos. But right now, after 2014-15 and onwards, what we are observing, it is the time of interdisciplinary, this emergence of interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary subjects. And therefore, the concept of breaking the silo, that appeared. The concept of learn, unlearn, relearn, it appeared. The concept of continuous learning, it appeared. The concept of lifelong learning, that appeared. So it indicates that the process that of getting a certificate from any academic institute after devoting some periods of our life, some years of our life there, and getting a certificate from there, we used to join at any our professional field, and many times whatever we learn, that is our job-related experiences and all these things, and most of these academic parts and all these things, that the separation from it at that particular point, whenever we have entered, when we wish to enter this our industrial or professional systems, that by that time that separation process is more or less completed. It means seldom we took the care for again educating ourselves from all these new knowledges and new academics or new ideas, new conceptions. Right now, it is being said everywhere that the job retention is more difficult than getting a job, because of the fact that all this, the emergence of this technology, rapid evolutions of all these, these technologies, whatever we have learned earlier, most of the things are getting more and more redundant, and we need to relearn many things, many techniques and many technologies. And it is true for each and every sphere. And until and unless we are not relearning, we are not updating ourselves. There is a famous adage: if we do not upgrade ourselves, definitely we are downgrading, because everything is moving so fast. If we want to keep a track or keep ourselves aligned with this changing scenario, we need to learn many things, and periodically we need to update ourselves. And it was not that much important, maybe 10, 20, 30 years before, but right now it is of extreme importance. And the thing is, right now, here, what is your background or subject, that is not so important. Till now, I find that people, most of our students, that they have this massive preference for computer science and all these things. But each and every subject is important in the sense, if you look this employment pattern or recruitment patterns of all these multinationals, they are recruiting persons from different background. And you can see that the head of many top multinational organizations dealing with IT-related business, they are from different backgrounds, because to bring more diversity in the thought process, because to bring more this diversity in looking at a problem from different perspective. That's why right now the barrier between different branches of engineering, barriers among these different areas of different subjects like science, technologies, humanities, and all these things, these are getting blurred. And it is the evolution of learning of everything. You may have a core knowledge, but at the same time, you should acquire many layered peripheral knowledges from different subjects. That was the requirement, and that's why what we are observing in the last 4, 5, 6 years. In traditional engineering industry, there was a drop in the recruitment process because of the changing pattern of the technology, changing pattern of this all these things, and changing requirement of the skill and knowledge set. We are having very good this analytical mathematical background, but our passion and our interest to embrace the digital technology, that was not so fast, and that's why initially we were a little bit hesitant. Right now, in COVID-19 induced scenario, what we are observing, there is a tremendous this change at our culture, because we don't have any other option. As we do not have any other option, we are focusing more and more to learn all these digital tools and techniques. Use of smartphones. Now they are trying to understand the different features of the smartphone, how to use all these things. People are getting more and more conversant in handling the video conferencing, these tools and techniques, learning management systems. Then all these things, then the integration of open online courses to traditional courses, these are becoming more and more the predominating features of our education system. And this has been accelerated at this process. We were working in this area for the last 3, 4 years, but at this time, the main takeaway of the system is at least all this endeavor that received a momentum. And the outcome of it is we will have more proficient handler of all these digital techniques and tools and techniques in near futures, be it teachers, be it students, be it these other stakeholders of our system. So this is one of the biggest advantage of this scenario. This is we call adversity advantage. At the situation created adversity, so we are using all our internal resources to develop these types of potential for overcoming this adversity. Right now, you see, as we could not organize these lectures and all these things in physical format, so these digital platforms is nicely working, and people are there from different parts. They can now communicate. They can now this connectivity, and at least we are this having some function at this time, some activities at this time. Now there are certain challenges. The challenges is in digital platform, the situation or the grammar is different. If you want to just copy your physical system to digital system, that will not give you success. For example, whenever we are giving lectures at classroom, whenever we are addressing people, whenever we are talking to people in physical proximity, that has certain connotations. And that has certain, these features. Features is our physical warmth, our entire appearance of our entire body, and and all these things that makes these things more lively, more interactive. But in digital format, you see, or most of you, if you are muted, you are not allowed to speak. Many of these are now the video is off, so you are not allowed to show yourself. Here, only one speaker speaks, and then the only part of his body or her body is visible, and that if that speech continues, that many times it becomes difficult for maintaining or keeping the patience. That's why initially, when we introduced our digital pedagogy after this lockdown period, this enthusiasm which we observed, that dropped to a certain level after some time, because of the fact in today's time, people's attention span is very small. That's why we need to format it in different forms. Here in digital format, less intervention, less speaking, and more interaction or more engagement that is required. If you allow others to speak, then it becomes more lively. Here also process. or digital lectures. If it is interactive, it is more like lively, more, this more fascinating or more effective. But if it is a monologue only, then it is not so effective. This is one of the problems. Second is, in our education systems, what we have observed, this should be multimodal. Multimodal means because there are lots of resources available at digital platforms. So whenever we would like to do some things, we can fetch resources from different, be it audio, be it video, be it animation, be it graphics. Now virtual reality, augmented reality, all these technologies are coming. All these things should be blended in such a way to make it more effective and useful. So these are the challenges, and we are working in that direction to make digital learning systems more effective. Next is to make our next generation students more creative and innovative. I was talking about our traditional pedagogy systems. That pedagogy systems, we call it didactic. Didactic means it's a dictational format. It is in dictational format. It is in one directional flow. But now this needs to be revamped to dialogic. Dialogic means more interactions, more, this collaboration, more interactions, more exchange of thought process, which was there at our ancient civilizations, at ancient Greece, ancient India, ancient China. The education process or teaching learning process, which was followed earlier, that was basically dialogic. And the importance of these dialogic systems of education was felt in India by none other than Rabindranath Tagore in the last century. And that's why he conceived the idea of creating a university where there will be exchange of thought process and generations of innovative and imaginative ideas. But our traditional education systems is not conducive enough for taking out or for exploiting the innovativeness and imaginative power of our learners. Human beings, they are maximum, they have maximum potential for their innovative and imaginative idea in a certain age group, and that is from from 14, 15, or maybe it's from still younger age up to 23, 24 at this period. That means the entire period where we are either at school or at colleges or at universities. And there, if we give it a vent for expression of this innovative power or imaginative power, then we will be able to see a large numbers of solutions will come out for taking care of problems of society and community. We have observed that in a country like us, we have many problems. Many problems means many solutions. Many solutions means there is a chance of conversion to economy. If it's environmental problem, there can be economic propositions or economic solution for it. If it is some other problems, there can be a solution for that. And all these things requires an innovative mindset. And second thing is required collaborative mindset. So this is the time, by this post-COVID-19 scenario, what we are observing or what we are trying to do is to develop a culture by virtue of which there will be an emergence of innovative and collaborative mindset. A new area is coming up, which we call design thinking. The basis of design thinking is it starts with empathy. Empathy means we should have an outlook so that we can understand that pain and suffering of our surroundings. And if we can understand all these things, then we will engage ourselves in developing solution to overcome or to get rid of all these problems. So this design thinking, this is basically an approach where persons from different backgrounds, they combine their knowledges, their ideas together to make this solution more formidable and for better service of this community. This is one of the new area of this modern education system. We need to have more, the empathetic learners or collaborative learners for our futures. In each and every area, we are seeing there are problems and opportunities. Be it agricultural sector, if we look at agricultural sector, in country like India, where we are blessed with so vast, these stretches of land is fertile lands and all these, these things, water resources is abundant, but in terms of crop yield, that much is not, this appreciable things are happening, because most of these things are traditionally practiced. Farming and plowing, all these things are age-old traditional practice. And the crop yield and all these things, these are not optimum. We are not producing, say, large varieties of crops and large quantities of crops to take care of the hunger index of our country. Probably in hunger index, India's position is 119 out of 123 countries. But we have enough potential to produce that much crops, because few years before, Israel Prime Minister, when only maybe 2 years before he came to India, he delivered a talk and where he have shown that a country like Israel, where there is only barren stretches of land, they are being able to make this land fertile enough to supply and to export valuable agricultural commodity to other countries. And that is called precision agriculture or smart farming. Here, agricultural practices needs to be blended with many modern tools and techniques like robotics, IoTs, artificial intelligence, soil science, agricultural science, environmental science, biotechnology. Many things are there. This is the combination of all these things that gives rise to smart farming or precision agriculture. Similarly, in healthcare sector, of the late you are hearing about digital health and all these things. What is this basically? Healthcare systems in our country, this access to healthcare systems is not there for a large number of people who are staying at the remote parts of this country. For those people, if we can have these digital healthcare systems, then healthcare will be more affordable. Be it telemedicine, be it these remote, these medical processes and all these things. What is required here? Here, medical science coupled with engineering science, basically this electronics, information technology, including data science, machine learning, then robotics and all these things. These are giving rise to these types of digital healthcare systems. So there are lots of scopes and opportunities of working over there. Here, one of the interesting area where leather technology, future of leather technology or leather industry can take part, that is in the form of wearables. At India, we are importing huge quantities of wearables, and these are nothing but these different varieties of sensors and IoTs. And these will be required for monitoring everything, monitoring of our all body parameters, monitoring this environment, monitoring climatic conditions, everything. Wearables will be, this in the forms of different either straps or a part of our dresses or many other things, and that will be there within our body systems, and it will be monitor our entire health profile, monitor our entire entire systems, and accordingly that all this data will be transmitted to either cloud and from the cloud, and from the cloud to the different medical processing systems. From there, entire these things will be monitored. And this is going to be one of the big prospect for leather industries, because this will be one of the value-added items. And additive manufacturing is another area where we have already, Nike and others, they have started manufacturing these shoes and all these things by additive manufacturing process or 3D printing process. These 3D printed items and these adoptions of all these things, that can be a big things for all these industries and for leather industries as well. So what we are observing, these changes are happening, and these are going to bring new and new opportunities. By 2030, it is being said many of these traditional jobs which are existing now will be vanished. But at the same time, many of these jobs which we have never thought of, that will appear. And there are all these things, these additive manufacturing, robotics, machine learning applications, data science applications, that will be more and more in different fields. And accordingly, we need to upgrade ourselves in all these areas. And this is not a subject or property for a particular particular domain. This machine learning, this understandings of data security, understandings of how these IoTs and all these things work. This is a part of each and every subject now. In near future, computational skill is going to be one of the fundamental skill requirement for each and every learner, irrespective of their subjects. In post-COVID-19 scenario, what we are observing or what we are trying to do, that all of our learners, they will be equipped with all this necessary skill set, particularly thought process. Thought process includes empathy, thought process includes imaginations, innovativeness, positive spirit, all these things. And at the same time, an attitude towards collaboration, networking, and integration. Without collaboration, networking, and integration, it will be difficult to survive in the future world. And for that, for effective collaboration, we need to embrace digital techniques to the best possible extent. And for embracing digital tools and techniques, we need to upgrade our skills in areas like machine learning, in areas like data science, in areas like at least some fundamental knowledge we should have, how to handle all these things. At least a basic understanding of some computer coding, that will be required. And along with that, our own understanding of our subject, be it whether technology, be it any other form of technology, that will give us competitive advantage over the entire, this world for taking this industry further. And this is the new age culture. This will be the new age culture. And when industry 5.0 will emerge, then there will be more the applications of robotics and applications of this as I said earlier, biological and mechanical interface and all these things. And there will be another new sets of opportunities that will develop that time. So right now, depending on the changing scenario, whatever is coming, whatever opportunities coming, whatever new things are being this emerging day by day, we need to learn each and every things and how best it is serving our purpose. That is our now challenge, and that's why this is the time to relook to each and every subject, to relearn us from different all these things from different perspectives. And every day we need to learn at least something for our betterment and our development. That is, and so long we will be alive, we have to follow this practice of upgrading ourselves through new sets of learning. And then in the changing, in this coming decades, by 2030, what we're expecting that our generation, our demographic dividend, our young generation, because they have their innovative power, they have their imaginative powers and all these things. So if we can imbibe these sorts of cultures and skill, definitely it will bring, new, these revolutions in the entire systems, and with the emergence of a new norms, and of course, it will take this country and community further ahead. So with this, I would like to conclude, and my sincerest congratulations to ILTA for organizing this webinar in that virtual platform. I wish these sorts of webinars will be organized again and again to make it, this more accessible to many of the persons who are associated with either with data technology or in associated areas from different parts of this country, from different parts of the world. And I wish a grand, success for all these recipients of awards today, many of us at the university. And for them, my one piece of advice is try to relearn, try to learn many new things, and try to upgrade yourselves in a collaborative and empathetic manner. Thank you.